Hello and welcome to Stubtown, PSUTV's weekly movie review show. I'm Octavia.
I'm Katie.
I'm Aaron.
And today we are reviewing Marshall. This is our spoiler section, so if you do not want to know anything that happens in the movie, please watch our spoiler-free section, and then we won't tell you anything.
My great-granddaddy, he was a slave. We're not slaves now, are we? We've got weapons we didn't have before. We've got the law.
Baby, you go into these towns who've never seen a Negro lawyer.
Hey, boy!
You need to be careful.
NAACP.
Very good. You're going to Connecticut.
Joseph Spell, Negro servant attacked socialite in our own bedroom.
This case will show the world if a colored man can get a fair trial in the United States.
There's only 13 million Negroes depending on you.
Don't any of you have any confidence in me?
I'd say you have enough confidence for us all.
I only represent innocent people, people accused because of their race. That's my mission.
I never touched that woman.
I need a partner who the jury can relate to.
Sam Friedman.
Good to meet you, Sam. Hey, give me a hand with these, would you?
What have you got in here, cement?
Guns. Books, Mr. Friedman.
You just sweep through town, stirring up all kinds of ugliness. My life is on the line here.
Hey, Attorney Friedman, hold on a minute.
What do you want?
You're one of us now, Sam. A real fighter.
Step away, you can't take the heat on the battleground.
Neither of them have been telling us the truth.
He attacked me!
I'd advise him to accept the deal.
You lied in a sworn statement. Why would you do that?
Why'd I lie? Because the truth gets me killed.
Hello, thanks for watching that amazing trailer that we have here. Again, this is our spoiler section, so if you do not want to know anything about the movie, please watch our spoiler-free section. And that's just kind of like an overview of the movie and what we felt about it and what we thought were some highs and lows and if we recommend it and blah, 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 blah. So just another synopsis of Marshall. Marshall is about Thurgood Marshall, who is a civil rights lawyer in the 1920s, right?
Somewhere, yeah.
In the early 1900s. He specialized in specifically fighting cases where black people were charged because of their race. So he was a big advocate, can't speak, for black rights. He met Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they work together. But this movie just looks at one case that he was involved in.
It did. A case specifically where a black man is charged of rape for a white woman. That's the word I'm looking for. Of a white woman. And just kind of how he navigated that and the race factors that entered there. And the big question of why would the woman lie about being raped. There was one point in the movie where he's having a conversation in the house that he's staying in with the wife of the man that he's staying with, and she's also a black woman, where she asked that question where she was like, and I thought that was a beautiful point in the movie where she was like, women don't just lie about being raped. And I was like, right. No, they don't.
Yeah. That was a good point. Yeah, this woman's just gonna, out of the blue lie about being raped. It just was weird. But that actually, later on in that same woman, when she was going to leave, or he was actually leaving at the end of that movie, I thought it was weird that their daughter, she made the comment I'm so glad my daughter gets to see men like you.
Right?
And I'm like, what about this?
Husband.
Yeah, what about this little girl's father who is leading a branch of the NAACP in Bridgeport all by himself?
Right?
And he asked for Thurgood Marshall's help, obviously.
But you
case.
saw the weird sexual tension between them, right?
I thought that was really interesting that they kind of did that. It was really subtle, but
yeah.
It was, and I was like, that comment is just, it didn't sit well with me because I'm like, yeah, your husband and this little girl's father is actually working pretty hard himself.
Yeah, maybe show him some gratitude.
I thought that was an unusual choice. Yeah, to say that.
It was weird. There was a lot of awkward sexual tension between Thurgood Marshall and like just a lot of people in the film. Like even like sometimes like Sam Friedman. I was like, there's something going on there, just a tiny bit. Sam Friedman, for those of you who didn't watch the spoiler-free section, was his partner in the case that he fought.
Yeah, he's the local lawyer that they needed a local guy to help them out, and he wasn't really a criminal defense lawyer, but he did like civil suits or whatever. Yeah. So he wasn't really wanting. Fraud. Yeah, he was like so it was interesting to see because he didn't want to get involved with the case, but ultimately gets dragged into it, and he himself is Jewish and faces some
adversity.
Yeah, and that was kind of interesting too. They were really subtle about his wife, like having wasn't part of her family like sent to did you get that at all? Like her family back
her cousin was sent to a concentration camp. Yeah.
But that was like what? Why would you like sprinkle like little like that's a powerful
They sprinkled
thing.
A lot of other issues and as like women's rights where the one juror sat up and was like, woman, man.
I'm the woman.
I'm
not
woman.
We're like, oh,
I actually thought she was the only woman on there, but then there was actually one more. And in one shot they showed the whole juror. But I was like, yeah, there's already only 2 women on this. So you're right. Like they put in other issues that were pertinent to the time, but to me it felt a little weird to just kind of like, his Sam Friedman's wife is, dealing with issues of her family back in Poland, having to go to concentration. It's like you don't give it enough time to really like resonate. It's just kind of thrown in.
But I think it was kind of like, too, like usually when you have like wives or something like that in movies like this, like they're not given any sort of backstory whatsoever.
That's true, yeah.
And so even if they like did like full-fledged like go into her backstory, that would have just like added unnecessary elements. But they were still like, this woman has a family and has like a life outside of her husband and has thoughts outside of her husband.
Yeah.
As kind of like showing that like she's her own person rather than just an extension.
Yeah,
of
it's
her
hard
husband.
not to like just go on an aside and like here's a whole other backstory, but you still want to like throw in other things and not make the whole movie just about this one court case, and you want to have other things that are going on.
Yeah.
Like a TV show.
You keep coming back to this idea of a TV show, Aaron. Did they pitch this TV show to you and you just like told them to make a movie instead? Or?
Yeah, Netflix is having me plug it.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be crazy if they did want to make this, the director of this, for example, like he was like, I actually want to make this a TV show. And they were like, no, you can't do that. So you're like, oh, I'm just going to make a 2-hour movie out of it then. And
I feel like this whole lot
and
of
then
movies
this guy Aaron will watch it and he'll understand me though. He'll know that this should have been a TV show.
And then when he is a professional filmmaker, he'll make it into a TV show. The long con.
Is that what your thought is?
It's exactly where I was going with that, yeah.
Oh man.
That's what happened. All right, so let's get into some
questions.
Yeah. That was not English for that part. That was nothing. All right, so what part of the story like stuck out as the most powerful moment?
That's hard to say. I think the courtroom, I really love like a really powerful courtroom scene, and I think there were a few moments in that film where it was like, I was like rooting for Sam Friedman to do a good job in the courtroom because he was the one that had to speak because the judge was just like this old dude who was like, you can sit in here, Thurgood, but you can't say anything at all, and it was like, oh my gosh. So I really liked the scenes when he was doing his, the one-on-one, like, I can't think of what it's called right now, but the courtroom scenes I think were pretty powerful, as well as the scene where they're both simultaneously getting beat up. Thurgood Marshall in a bar by some buff white dudes. And
by some bigots.
That's a better word. And also, Sam Friedman, who's also getting beat up by some bigots as well. So I thought that was a pretty powerful scene, and to do them both at the same time highlighted that they were both
connected.
Yeah, and getting a ton of hate for their their work on this case.
And they did that again too when they had the closing statement.
That was my favorite part.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good part. Where like you got to see they like did the same thing where they showed both of them saying the same thing at the same time for the closing statement because Thurgood couldn't be there.
And he
for the
wrote
closing
the
statement.
yeah, you're right. That was with the ink and the
dropping it in. I thought that was like a little over dramatic.
Yeah, see, I thought that part was a little bit cheesy too, and like he can't even write the closing statement. Like I thought, come on, like give this guy. He's learned a lot throughout the experience. Like Sam Friedman.
Like, has he?
Yeah. Well, it's like, he went on to do more. He clearly had something, change in him because at the end when they do here's how this actually played out in real life. Sam Friedman went on to continue to work kind of in those areas of helping people out and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
And Thurgood Marshall was on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that guy did so much for the civil rights movement. It's insane. I kind of like that they did show him leaving at the end of the movie by him just, getting ready to start a whole new case in, a whole new state. And
because that's what he did?
Yeah, that's what he did. He just traveled around the country and helped people out in any way he could. And maybe his home life suffered a little bit, but...
It did.
It did. Which they touched on a little bit, but...
He had kids, though.
He did have kids.
Because in the movie, him and his wife were struggling to have their first child.
Right.
His wife, Buster, who's not actually named Buster.
Yeah. The great line about, usually people think Buster's my dog.
It's like, weird to compare your wife to a dog,
yeah.
but all right. All right, Thurgood. Okay. But, yeah, he did eventually have kids, because he had Thurgood Marshall Jr. Right. I think 2 others. I don't know if they were from her, though, because he had a second.
Right. Well, when you're traveling around the country helping people out, something's bound to suffer, I guess, in your own life. But
gotta make a choice.
Choices. What did you guys think about the acting in the movie?
I thought it was good.
Anybody stand out?
Did not enjoy Kate
Hudson. Yeah. I figured. I'm a big fan of Kate Hudson overall. I think she's a pretty good actress more often than not. But I felt she was a little bit too far in this. But I feel like she was a good person to play this role. I felt like she could have done better. I didn't feel like she belonged in that time. Like that was my biggest thing. It's like every time I saw her, I was like, you don't look like everybody else. Like I was like, you belong in this time. Josh Gad was another one that I was like, you maybe don't belong in this time. Right,
like you're kind of like, you're on the line
here.
Like I could go either way, but like Kate Hudson, like she walked in the room.
Yeah, I just didn't like her accent. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It was.
I thought she served the part of the rich aristocrat lady, pretty well. But I would agree that maybe she's not, because you think of her in such a contemporary setting that it's like, what is she doing in early 1900s? Like,
well, like everyone like really, like what's his name? The one who played Joseph.
Oh, Sterling K. Brown.
There we go.
Sterling K. Brown.
I can only remember Sterling K, but I was like, there's something else that came there. But like, he's in This Is Us.
Right.
And like the way he speaks there is completely different from the way that he speaks in Marshall. And that just kind of shows that like he really like he changed the way
I thought he did a really good job in the movie.
Yeah.
I thought he was good. I thought Chadwick Boseman too did a good job playing Thurgood Marshall.
Yeah, he did a really good job changing his voice too, because I'd only seen him as beforehand as the Black Panther in Captain America, where he spoke with a really heavy like African accent.
Yeah. So sounds like Kate Hudson was the one that you didn't want to see in this movie, but
she just didn't fit.
She was a little bit over the top too, I felt at times. I almost thought her husband was gonna like murder her at the end. Honestly, that guy was freaking me out. He didn't even have any lines, but he just looked like an evil dude. He actually had
that
a couple
one
lines.
Get out of my way.
Yeah, everybody said, "You shouldn't be standing here." That was basically like one of 2 lines that he had, and he just looked super mean.
Yeah.
And it was interesting at the end when she was leaving, and she kind of looked at him as almost. She looked at Sterling K. Brown's character as almost as if she was sorry for. When she was getting dragged away. Well, yeah. Well, did you think that she maybe didn't want... Sorry. Do you think that maybe she didn't want to have that played out the way it played out? Or did you feel at all that she was regrettable for what she was doing?
I think she regretted like not killing herself.
Okay.
I think that was
not
her
being
biggest...
successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, the swimmer jumps off the bridge into a shallow creek, and what does she do? She swims away.
Yeah, she's
not the best way to end your life if you're...
Do you think she would have felt better if he had gotten convicted?
I don't think she would have. I think to me, the way that I read her character, I felt like she regretted, maybe not actually dying when she jumped off.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like she almost had to have those things played out the way they were, 'cause she would also be in extreme trouble if they found out what she did.
Yeah.
She would be murdered too, most likely. So really, both of them were in a situation that was just super messy and super horrible. But I thought it was interesting that when she was going to leave the courtroom after they found him not guilty, that she was looking at him in that way.
Maybe she, I'm sure that she did have, some sort of feelings, because her husband was a abusive...
Yes, terrible person.
Piece of poo.
Right.
And
Sterling K. Brown almost looked at her, too, like they're, it was just...
He felt, it was definitely, a feeling of, what I got from him was, I'm so sorry. He was still just so sorry
right.
that this was happening to her. Because he was just, a good guy, but, also not the best guy. Everyone has team.
Yeah, that was interesting too. That they
also
were
who cheated on his wife.
Yeah, exactly. He abandoned his family in Louisiana. They
takes on another lover.
They didn't paint him as a saint. He obviously had some issues himself, but they were like, that doesn't mean he's a rapist here.
He's just not the most amazing human being.
Right.
Ever. But he's a thief, but not a rapist.
Right.
So, did anybody share any feelings with any of the characters in the movie? I definitely I guess not sharing a feeling, but it got kind of heavy for me when Thurgood and Sam were walking up the courtroom steps. And all the protesters were out with all of their signs. It was a little bit of a holy shit, that's still happening today.
Yeah, I would agree. There was something in that moment too that actually kind of caught me off guard, and I was like, wow, this is actually, I don't know why, but that actually really, maybe, I felt like it was whatever happened right before that, and then leading up to right then, it kind of hit me too that I was like, what? This is heavy, and this is real, and this is what the signs were saying, and this isn't history necessarily. This is something that we still see today.
It's
maybe
repetition.
Not in the same way, but it's still there. And so I totally forgot about that, but I definitely remember thinking I kind of hit you there for a second.
And then in the moment in the courtroom where the judge was like, "You can't speak," that was a real heavy moment, because it was just taking away someone's rights to speak is just
dehumanizing.
It's
not even. I mean, I'll let you sit here as co-counsel, but you can't say anything
speak at all. Yeah, that was, so those were some really heavy moments in the film that definitely made me feel uncomfortable, but it was also just kind of reminiscent of what's going on today and around campus too. There was that support Trump group, there's a neo-Nazi group on our campus, there's the pro-lifers on our campus. And so you see a lot of, there's that one guy who has the big sign that always yells about Jesus. And how we're all going to hell. So it was very very triggering in a sense too, of just when you have to walk through life and then you see it on screen that this has always been a thing, and just kind of, you forget sometimes that this has always been a thing, even though in the back of your mind that racism has always exists. You just, sometimes you put it into the back of your mind because you just don't want to think about it, because it gets really heavy and really hard. And then when you see movies like this and they're like, hey, remember this is something that happened in the past, and this is something that's happening now, and you just kind of, it all comes together. It just kind of fumbles your brain.
Makes you make connections between our past and our current state. For sure.
Definitely. So we kind of went over what we liked about this film.
Yeah, definitely. I would say, once again, go see it if you can. I know it's expensive to go see movies these days, but this is a movie that I think is worth spending some money towards seeing. It wasn't really marketed as well as I thought. I haven't seen any trailers or anything. I've asked people about it and they've never heard about it, so I'm wondering kind of what went on there, but it's, in my opinion, if you don't see it in theaters, at least see it when it comes out on DVD, because it's
Does anybody
worth watching.
smell some Oscars coming up here?
I don't think so, because I feel like it's so under the radar. Yeah.
Well, there's like American Sniper. It got nominated for an Oscar, and it came out like a couple weeks before the deadline closed on the Oscars, and nobody knew about it, but it still got nominated. But that might have just been because there was a bunch of white people in it too.
Yeah.
So, like,
I unfortunately don't see anything, but I mean, it's possible, I guess. So I guess we'll have to.
I mean, like Selma got nominated, and that definitely didn't get any
coverage as far as
until after the Oscars.
That's true.
It's like, oh, Selma. But yeah, so definitely, I think we all agree to go see it, right?
Definitely.
I don't want to speak for anyone, but yeah, definitely go see it. I think it's definitely something that's important to see too, and especially because not all schools teach about Black history. And if you don't know much about Black history, I think this is something good to go see, and kind of like, even though it does kind of take on that glaze of the 1920s, it's still very prevalent of what happened in that time, and still shows the viciousness that people had against people of color, and people who, especially one thing that they viciously attacked people who spoke out against these injustices as well, which still goes on today. So I think just seeing it, and also just it kind of helps you realize that all of this is still happening today, and kind of helps you think a little bit more about what you can do to help as well. All right, so getting off the heavy bit, if you want to join PSUTV and help out on Stubtown and review some movies, or if you just want more experience and more training working with cameras, you can email contact@psu.tv and get in contact with our lovely volunteers coordinator, Emily. She's amazing. And then you can join PSUTV and get more real world experience. There we go. On some of our amazing equipment, and also just helping out on some of our shows. We have a lot of different options besides Stubtown as well, but like, also join Stubtown. That's it for this week on Stubtown and reviewing Marshall. Join us next week where we'll be reviewing
The Snowman with Michael Fassbender. Scary stuff. Halloween edition of Stubtown, so you don't want to miss it. Candy. There's gonna be candy.
You can't have it though.
Yeah. So that's it.
Bring everybody down.
Yeah. If you want to watch more of our videos, subscribe, hit the like button if you liked this one. I think it was pretty great. Also check out facebook.com/psu.tv and give us a like on there, and you can keep updated on what we're doing at PSU TV, and we will see you next week.